In the summer of 1984, in the small town of Ipswich, a 15-year-old boy named Davy spent his vacation working part-time as a newspaper delivery boy. One day, while placing a newspaper in his neighbor's mailbox, he read about a missing teenager. His neighbor, a middle-aged man named Mackie, took the newspaper from him and invited Davy inside to give him his payment. Mackie mentioned that he needed help moving some things around, so Davy agreed and went inside. While helping Mackie move a heavy piece of furniture in the basement, Davy couldn't help but feel creeped out. The basement was dark and unsettling, and he noticed a padlocked door that gave him an eerie feeling. Afterward, Mackie led him into a dimly lit photo printing room and revealed that he had recently developed a new hobby, photography. He found out that Davy was 15 years old and commented that it was the perfect age, jokingly saying he wished he could freeze him at that age. Later that evening, while Davy was playing a game called Manhunt with his friends, he spotted a curly-haired boy at Mackie's house. This raised a red flag for Davy, and he couldn't shake off the uneasy feeling about his neighbor. The next day, Davy hung out with his friends, Tommy, Woody, and Faraday, at Tommy's treehouse. They spent their time looking at adult magazines and fantasizing about a girl named Nikki, who used to be Davy's babysitter. As they talked, Davy brought up the string of missing kids in their town, but his friends weren't interested. That evening, Davy decided to use binoculars to look into Nikki's room, which was across the street from his house, but he couldn't see her. Just then, he overheard his dad talking to someone about the police receiving a letter from the killer, who had been named the Cape May Slayer. The killer had confessed to murdering 13 children over the past decade. Davy immediately rushed to tell his friends about the letter, but they were already aware, as the news had been broadcasted. The police believed the killer was a white man between 30 and 40 years old, who lived alone and only targeted teenage boys. Davy grew worried that the Cape May Slayer might be someone close to them. When he tried to discuss the topic with his friends, they didn't take him seriously, dismissing his concerns as a joke. But Davy couldn't shake the feeling that the killer might be closer than anyone realized. The next day, while delivering newspapers, Davy saw a missing child's photo on a milk carton. He instantly recognized the curly-haired boy he had seen at Mackie's house. This realization made him suspicious that Mackie might be the Cape May Slayer. He shared his theory with his friends, and Tommy mentioned that his brother, who worked at a hardware store, often saw Mackie buying large amounts of dirt every week, which Mackie claimed was for his backyard garden. This struck Davy as odd, and he reminded his friends that the suspect was a white male, late 30s to 40s, who lived alone, exactly like Mackie. The boys decided to investigate Mackie and gather evidence. Over the following days, they kept an eye on his routine, observing his daily activities. They learned that Mackie left home every night at 11 p.m. to go for a jog. One night, when Mackie was away, they took the opportunity to rummage through his trash can, but they found nothing suspicious. They also checked his mailbox, but again, no clues were found. That evening, Davy was home alone as his parents went out for a date night. To his surprise, the doorbell rang, and when he opened the door, it was Nikki. Nikki walked in and started snooping around Davy's room, finding the binoculars he had used to spy on her. Davy quickly denied having watched her undress, but she didn't seem to mind. Instead, Nikki started flirting with him, and they almost kissed before they were interrupted by the sound of Davy's parents returning home. Nikki quickly escaped out of the window, leaving Davy feeling confused and unsettled. The next day, a teenage boy left his house late at night and noticed someone following him. The boy grew terrified, but before anything happened, the scene cut off. The next morning, Davy and his friends decided to follow Mackie to learn more about his activities. They saw him go to a hardware store where he purchased soil and digging tools. After he left, the boys tried to keep following him, but they lost track when Woody drove too slowly. As if things weren't bad enough, a police car pulled them over for illegally driving Woody's mom's car. The officer scolded them for their actions and warned them about the serial killer on the loose, sending the boys home. That evening, Davy kept watching Mackie's house from a distance. He noticed Mackie had switched cars, which made Davy suspicious. He told his friends that Mackie was hiding the tools he bought somewhere else. Just as they were discussing their next move, Nikki appeared again, calling Davy outside. She seemed emotional, mentioning her fears about her parents' potential divorce. Davy comforted her and also shared his suspicions about Mackie. However, Nikki laughed it off, telling him that it was impossible because Mackie was a police officer and her dad's close friend. Despite not finding anything significant in the following days, Davy remained persistent. He decided to place a walkie-talkie outside Mackie's bedroom window to eavesdrop on him. His friends agreed to the plan, And while Davy was setting up the device, they kept an eye on Mackey's house. Soon, they saw Mackey carrying a bucket of bleach, and there were bloodstains on his clothes. Davy quickly ran away to avoid being caught, but it was clear that Mackey was hiding something. The next day, while delivering newspapers to Mackey's house, Davy noticed the walkie-talkie and tried to connect with it. The growing evidence was making Davy more certain that Mackey was the Cape May Slayer, and the pieces of the puzzle were beginning to fall into place. Mackey reappears, and Davy, feeling guilty, apologizes, claiming that their earlier actions were just part of a game of manhunt the previous night. When Davy heads over to Mackey's house to collect the payment for the newspaper, he notices something odd: freshly dug up earth in the yard. This raises his suspicions. As Mackey takes the money, he hears strange static over Davy's walkie-talkie, but brushes it off casually. Later that evening, Davy continues to keep watch over Mackey's house, but something unsettling happens. He sees a ladder eerily positioned towards him, as if Mackey was watching him through binoculars. Confused and anxious, Davy gathers his friends in the treehouse and insists they must uncover the mystery by digging in Mackey's yard. The following night, Woody and Faraday trail Mackey during his late-night jog while Davy and Tommy begin digging around the yard, hoping to uncover the secret. Soon, Woody and Faraday spot Mackey entering a warehouse after his jog. Woody peeks inside through a small crack in the door and sees a sack with the label NaOH. Meanwhile, Davy and Tommy, growing more desperate, can't seem to find anything underground. They decide to investigate the warehouse, and to their horror, they discover a blood-stained t-shirt, one that Davy recognizes as belonging to the curly-haired boy he saw in Mackey's house. The kids return to the treehouse, shaken. Woody, recalling the sack marked NaOH in the warehouse, reveals that NaOH, or sodium hydroxide, is a powerful chemical used to decompose organic tissue, often to dispose of dead bodies. Davy becomes certain that Mackey is hiding something sinister, and the boys decide it's time to tell their parents. However, when they present their findings, Davy's parents dismiss their claims as wild accusations, furious that Davy has been spying on the neighbor. They force Davy to apologize to Mackey for his actions. Mackey, surprisingly, laughs off the apology. He calmly explains that the curly-haired boy Davy saw earlier was actually his nephew Jimmy. He offers to call Jimmy to confirm, but Davy's dad refuses. Though Davy remains unconvinced, his friends want to end the whole ordeal, feeling it's gone too far. As a consequence of his actions, Davy is grounded. The next day, while Davy is home alone, Mackey comes over to address the tension between them. He insists he doesn't want bad blood between neighbors and asks what he can do to fix things. Nervously, Davy asks him to call Jimmy, hoping to resolve the misunderstanding. Mackey agrees, but when he dials, no one answers. He casually explains Jimmy might be at baseball practice. Davy, uneasy, quickly realizes that Mackey called his own home, not Jimmy's. Horrified, Davy decides to investigate further and calls his friends, sharing his suspicions. Later, as the news reports the capture of the Cape May serial killer Arthur, Davy is left in even more disbelief when he learns Mackey was the one who arrested him. Davy, still convinced something is off, urges his friends to break into Mackey's basement, where he suspects the truth lies hidden behind a locked door. His friends warn him that this could lead to serious consequences, but Davy won't let it go. The next day, during the Cape May festival, while everyone in town is preoccupied, Davy sneaks into Mackey's house. He manages to break into the basement with his friends Woody and Nicky, who both reluctantly agree to help. Inside the basement, they discover a disturbing sight: walls covered with photographs. They hear a noise from another room and find a bathroom with a bathtub. Pulling back the curtain, they find the decomposed body of the missing teenager. As Davy examines the walls, he realizes that Mackey had been photographing the victims' families, and to his shock, he finds a picture of his own family. Panic sets in as Davy realizes he may be Mackey's next target. In the police station, Davy and his friends present the footage to the chief, who immediately places Mackey on the wanted list. Davy is hailed as a hero, but as the kids process the terrifying ordeal, they also realize that they were wrong to dismiss Mackey's strange behavior. Nicky, now impressed by Davy's courage, shares a sweet kiss with him. The following day, as Davy and his parents deal with the aftermath, Davy reflects on what happened. Woody, who still harbors resentment for the whole ordeal, decides to stay with Davy, unwilling to be alone. Yet, the search for Mackey continues. The police comb through Mackey's house, but he remains elusive. That night, while Davy and Woody sleep, the attic door creaks open, revealing Mackey. Quietly, he makes his way to Davy's room. Terrified, the boys wake up to find themselves tied up in a police car, somewhere isolated. In a frantic escape attempt, they free themselves and flee into the forest. Mackie, chasing them, declares that it's time to play a real game of manhunt. As they run through the woods, Woody slips into a gruesome scene where Mackie has been disposing of his victims. Overcome with fear, Woody begs Davy to save him, but Davy promises to keep him safe. Davy then sacrifices himself to distract Mackie, hoping to lead him away. As Davy hides behind a tree, Mackie strikes, slashing him in the arm. He then turns to Woody, who desperately tries to flee, but Mackie catches up and in a chilling moment, slits Woody's throat, ending his life. Davy is devastated, finding his friend's lifeless body. Mackie, appearing from the shadows, tells Davy that he ruined Mackie's life and promises to come back one day to finish what he started. Afterwards, Mackie leaves, and Davy, severely injured, is found by a passing driver. He is rushed to the hospital, where his parents are relieved that he survived. But Davy is forever changed. No longer the carefree boy he once was, he returns to his part-time delivery job, and as Nikki leaves town, she waves him goodbye. He notices his friends, Tommy and Faraday, tearing down the treehouse, blaming him for Woody's death. He finds himself standing in front of Mackie's empty house, marked with police tape. As he opens a newspaper, he sees Mackie's face, accompanied by a caption declaring that the Cape May killer is still at large. The haunting truth remains. Mackie is still out there, and Davy's life will never be the same. And to find a new recap that has the same entertainment, click my recommendations on the right. Subscribe for future uploads and drop a like to support the channel. As always, grab your popcorn, enjoy yourself, and see you soon, my friend.